Hello and welcome everyone. This is your guide, Ryan Phoenix, telling you to hurry back on board the bus. It is time for a speedy start to Kingsfield for the PlayStation 1 on this latest Speedy Tour. That is to say, the North American release of Kingsfield, which was actually Kingsfield 2 in Japan because the goal of localization is to confuse people in other countries, right? The Kingsfield series is the humble beginnings of FromSoft, best known for the Dark Souls and Soulslike games. Perhaps you're a fan who has scoured the lands of Lordran and want to see what early FromSoft had to offer. Well, similarly to the Dark Souls games, Kingsfield isn't exactly a walk in the park. With that in mind, I decided to take the bus through a beginner's guide tour of this PS1 classic. First, we'll go over the gameplay basics, and then I will lead you through my path to get a solid start in your journey on the island of Melanat. As you start your new game, you're dropped off with no real direction and only a dagger to your name. You may want to take a moment to familiarize yourself with the controls, and be careful. Even in the first seconds of the game, one wrong step will lead you to your watery demise. So while avoiding bottomless ocean pits, you can test the directional pad movement along with the other button functions. Square for attack, X for dash and is also your confirm or check button, triangle for equipped magic that you don't have yet, and circle for bringing up your menu. The R1 and L1 buttons can be used to strafe from side to side, while the R2 and L2 buttons will adjust your camera view vertically. Changing your view with R2 and L2 will be extremely helpful with careful movement and looking at enemies either below or above you. And the select button can be assigned to a quick use item or magic ability. One thing to keep in mind through your journey is testing the attack speed of your current weapon. Some weapons will move a bit slower than others, so I recommend having a few practice swings whenever you find yourself a new instrument of pain. Also note that you have a gauge that depletes and refills as you attack. You want to go on the offensive when this bar is full as often as you can, because that is how you deal the most damage with your attacks. You can get into a nice rhythm of attacking and backing away from enemies to recharge, with the extra bonus of avoiding damage. Another game mechanic you'll come across often is searching for hidden passages. You may find yourself spamming the X button as you walk along the edges of a room, just in case there's a secret waiting for you. Sometimes it's a doorway to a new area, sometimes it's some gold or an item, and sometimes it's spikes to the face. Yeah, it wouldn't be FromSoft without some trickery. So when you are hunting down these secrets, you should be ready to keep moving, or to back away quickly. I'll give you one more piece of advice. Whenever you come across these crystals, you want to hold on to them. It may be tempting to sell them for a decent price, but a little later in the game you'll find a vendor who can turn these crystals into flasks. The crystal flask acts similarly to the Estus flask of Dark Souls games, or maybe more accurately, a bottle in The Legend of Zelda. You'll be able to fill up these flasks at different fountains throughout the game, which can restore your health, sometimes your magic, or later, both. Speaking of which, you'll want to know that early in the game, you won't have a reliable way of restoring your MP. That is why I'm going to take you through my speedy route for getting some early game gear and access to your first MP restoring fountain in the game. So let's get started. I like to start off running across this unfinished bridge right at the start of the game. This will take you to a lighthouse, which we'll ignore for now, and go down this pathway to the right. Watch out for the fish, they can be quite deadly. It's easy to get attacked by these fish and either killed outright or knocked off this shallow path, which also kills you. But we haven't done anything yet, so if that happens, no progress lost. The prize we have in mind is this breastplate, sitting on this island with a couple krakens. You can stay here and fight if you like, but I'm going to do a U-turn and head back to the lighthouse. Note that there are herbs around the tower base that you might as well grab. At the top of the tower, you can grab this fire crystal, giving us our first magic spell in the game, Fireball. As you find more elemental crystals, you'll learn more spells of that element. I won't be using this much until we have a reliable way to restore MP, but good to grab for now. Let's head back down the tower. I like to look down as I go to see where the stairs are. And then we will cross the bridge back to the main island and head to the right. Feel free to grab any goodies along the way. There's a cave behind the fishermen where we will see some man-eating plants and a large snail that we'll be avoiding for now to get up these stairs. Here we can find a chest that contains a pirate's map. Not super useful, but nice to have. We're going to ignore the other chests in this room for now, because each contains a skeleton enemy inside, and we don't want to deal with that yet. Instead, let's head back into the save room. Hooray, saving! You'll want to do this often, trust me. Now for some death-defying stunts. We're going to jump off this platform to access this part of the map. Sadly, sometimes sequence breaking also means breaking limbs. That fall will nearly kill us, so be careful not to take any more hits, and feel free to use an herb or two that you picked up earlier. Rush inside the door, and we'll see these swinging sides coming at our face. Not very welcoming. There's a trap door just below them, so time it right and go down the hole as they swing away. You will land on some conveniently placed slimes that broke our fall. Ignore them and grab our first weapon upgrade of the game, a Morning Star. This is a big boost in damage for this early in the game. Now to make it out of here. Following this path, be careful of falling skeletons. And we do have to take one more bit of fall damage here, so if you haven't already, heal up with an herb. After the fall, let's go through a hidden doorway into this hall. If we sprint straight for this chest, we can bypass a trapdoor to get the treasure inside, a dragon crystal. These can be used for a full HP and MP restore. Also, after fully activating C's fountain, which we'll see later, these crystals can revive you on death, warping you back to the fountain instead of forcing you to reload a save. Anyway, let's go ahead and fall down that hole, and follow this path to a piranha plant. We can kill it for a dagger, and also open the chest for a bloodstone, which cures all status ailments except for poison. Dropping down and ducking into this room, we'll find the Stargate, our first of 3 gates. These can be used along with matching keys for warping to save points, very handy. Speaking of, here's another save point that we will use. We head back upstairs and past some more Kraken enemies. We can grab some goodies here before making it into this big room, which is back at the beginning. We made a big circle, guys. Well done. And here we can also grab our first headgear of the game, an iron mask. All the better, we can go into this little room here to find a few monsters and a water well. This well will fully restore your HP when you drink from it, so you want to keep this place in mind. And there's another reason for coming here, being this hidden room. You can either avoid or fight off the skeleton inside to claim your prize of the leather shield. Our beginner equipment loadout is looking pretty nice now. Let's head back out, healing if needed, and go to this doorway. Again, feel free to either avoid or deal with the monsters inside. We are trying to make our way to this snail-infested room. Yep, 2 giant snails. Watch out for their deadly breath attack. You want to either get to the side and smack them in the head, or heads, I suppose? After dispatching or dodging the snails, we can get a crystal flask for collecting some of the well water, and our first wind crystal of the game, teaching us the wind cutter. With some more magic under our belt, I think we can move on to a new area of the game. Let's head to the village. You'll find switches like these that can extend bridges, and you'll also find enemies like this guy, our first humanoid combatant. They can deal some damage, so be careful. And speaking of being careful, we're going to go into the small graveyard for another piece of gear. I try to avoid all the enemies, following this path to the left, and grabbing myself some nice iron boots before taking my leave. Now you can explore the town a bit, find some goodies along the way, and talking to the people of this land. There are a number of shopkeepers, including Al Hunt here. And outside Nola's house is a small spring of water, which acts just like the well from earlier. We can heal up and fill our new flask to get a blue potion. The potion will heal 100 hit points, very nice for a replenishable healing source. Behind the spring, we can head down these stairs and deal with some termites. Which are exceptionally weak to our Morning Star. If you take damage or level up like I did, feel free to run back and heal. Now we are going to follow this path to a couple more chompy plants. Along with what looks like another well. This one we can drop down into to access a new area. This is one of the base areas of those soldiers that we've been seeing. Be sure to grab this rhombus key, they are very useful around here. And feel free to save once again. We're going to be fighting and running from a number of soldiers, so things can get dangerous. From the save point cave, we eventually want to head all the way down to the end of this long hallway. You can kill some of the soldiers if you like. Some of them will drop more rhombus keys, like this one at the very end of the hall. You use the rhombus keys on these doorways to open it from one side. So to open it from both sides, you will need 2 keys. Keep that in mind. Through the door and down the stairs, we'll find another group of soldiers. Try not to get pincered or stuck as you take them out. If you take damage, be ready with some healing herbs or your blue potion. Through the door they were guarding is another soldier. Take him out and steal the jail key he had on him. We'll be needing it. Also, be sure to check for hidden doorways like this to get our first light elemental magic, the light spell. Heading back, you may or may not have a second rhombus to get back out of this room. If you need one, duck into this room and snatch it off the table. We want to open this door to gain access to the jail. Good thing we just got a jail key. Going to the right. We are able to free this poor soul who will reward us with a dragonstone. This is a key item we will be using right away. Let's wish our new friend luck and head back to the opposite side of the jail. Watch out for the archer soldier and make your way into this last jail cell. There's a hidden doorway inside. Run through the cave and straight ahead to these stairs. This doorway leads to Seath's Fountain. This is where we can get our MP restoration that I mentioned way back at the start of all this. Place our recently acquired Dragonstone in this pedestal to unlock the red water. This will restore your MP, and can be collected as red potion to be used at any time to restore 50 MP. If you use the Dragonstone on the other pedestal, it will open up green water, which removes all status effects. Nice, but not nearly as useful right now. You can activate it later, and with all streams activated, the fountain will give you gold potion with the effects of all three. So, now that you have access to your MP restore potion, I should show you how to get out of here. Well, let's head back to this doorway and up the stairs. Avoid or finish off the baddies, but also grab this rhombus key out of the chest. Run through this area will lead to another drop-off. And eventually back out to the large hallway where we were in before. Take a left from here and make your way back to the village. Following this path through the village, past Al's house, and down these stairs will lead you to a convenient save point. Just past these oddly sealed walls. And in the pedestal by this save point is the moon key. Sadly, not a matching pair for our Stargate. Anyway, let me show you another short path to the fountain. If we follow the halls back to Nola's house and down these stairs that we took before, we can return to this room. This time we'll head up these stairs and arrive in another room with baddies. Feel free to battle or plunder as you see fit. But if we head to this hole in the ground, we can drop down into the cave room directly next to the fountain entrance. You can follow the path I showed earlier to get back. You can run this loop and get yourself potions as needed. Originally, I was going to leave you here, letting you explore on your own. But what kind of tour guide would I be if I left things here? Yeah, you've got a nice start on equipment, and some magical goodies, but what about some fast travel? Let's go ahead and grab you your first gate and key combo pack. Placing a key in a pedestal by a save point will allow you to warp back to it using the matching gate. Right now, we have a Stargate and a Moon Key. So, heading from Seath's Fountain back to the soldier-filled hallway, we can raise up this bridge and access a different village. In this village, we can find some more villagers. A couple more shops with goodies you may want to grab, like the silver and gold keys, eventually. But for our purposes, this village also has a passage that leads to the South Graveyard and to the mines. This will be a short trip into these areas. Going quickly through the graveyard, and next to the mine entrance, we can find another NPC named Faye you'll want to remember for later, as he can trade you the Moon Gate for an item called the Figure of Seath. He can also trade us some other magical items, including another light crystal for 6 crystal flasks. But it will be a while before we can get that many. The passage directly next to where you find Faye leads down to the mines. Once you get inside, take the path to the right and continue to hug the wall until you come across a treasure chest. The chest contains the star key, giving you your first matching gate key set. You can now leave back the way we came. If you feel up to more exploration, the open room just past the graves has a couple rooms of interest on your left, one holding a save point, and another holding the Night Helm. But I'm going to take you back to safety. Let's head back to the other village, so we can place our star key in the pedestal near our fountain path. Now, at the cost of merely 10 MP, you can use a Stargate to return to this spot. With all this at your disposal, in what was for me just over half an hour of gameplay, you are going to be in excellent shape to continue your journey through Kingsfield for the PlayStation 1. Thank you all for joining me on yet another Speedy Tour. I'm planning on doing more beginner guides similar to this one. If you have a particular game you would like to see me cover, please leave a comment down below. If you would, please subscribe and consider becoming a member of this channel. We would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, keep on gaming and stay gold, my friends.